Yan. Hello class. Hello world. Wow. Taas ng energy. So yeah, welcome to CE25. Nakikita nyo dito sa screen, hello world. Di ba? Yan yung typical uh, na introductory term or statement na pinapakode kapag programming class. So yan yung nilagay dyan. Anyway, let's start. Welcome to CE25. Ang course title niya is Mathematical Methods in Civil Engineering 2. So in this course, you will be learning programming concepts and methods. So, tuturuan kung paano kayo mag-code. Actually, ang language na ituturo dito sa course na to is C. Okay? Next is application of numerical methods to civil engineering. Actually, uh, syempre, of course, natapos siya ng CE24. That's mathematical method in civil engineering 1. So, ginawa doon, di ba, mathematical calculations. That's theoretical methods or analytical methods. Dito naman, numerical. So, i-apply natin yung programming concepts to solve this civil engineering problems. Okay, and the last part of this course would be focused on the partial differential equations. So, i-introduce ko sa inyo kung paano mag-solve ng partial differential equations. Okay, and actually, uh, yung introduction talaga ng buong partial differential equations na concept. Okay, so that's the introduction to our course. Now let's move to my introduction. So yeah, as you can see yung setup ko ngayon, pang YouTuber talaga kasi as much as I want na ma-meet kayo personally, yung circumstances natin this week, hindi natin magagawa yan. So yeah, pakilala na lang muna ako. Actually, for this course, tatlo kami. Okay, tatlo kami instructors. So we have Engineer Kenneth Musico, Sir Kenneth, ako, and si Sir Agor. Okay, so tatlo kami. Uh, but you're receiving this or you're watching this lecture or introduction orientation kasi ako yung magiging lecturer nyo for this course. Okay, so I'm Engineer Heli Martrilla, so you can just call me Sir Heli or Sir Dash, whatever you prefer. Okay, so actually this is my first year as instructor here in ICE, so kayo yung first class or first batch ng i-handle ko. So I'm looking forward to being an instructor to all of you. And syempre, I'll be here to guide you through this course. Ganyan din si Sir Kenneth and Sir Joshua to guide you and help you. So don't hesitate then na humingi ng tulong if you need. Okay? Sige, let's go to the content ng course natin. Edisin ko lang muna yung video. Alright. Ano ba yung laman or ano ba yung pag-aaralan natin sa course na to? So ano yung matututunan nyo? It's actually divided into two. Sa programming part and numerical or mathematical part. So sa C programming part, so of course, ito lahat yung uh, concepts na matututunan nyo, supposedly, dapat. So, we're gonna introduce yung basic C programming. So, enumerated dito kung ano yung mga important concepts na kailangan nyo matutunan so that you can uh, code, para makapag-code kayo using the C language. And then, selection control structure, repetition control structures. Ayan naman mga structures lang sa code na gagawin or sa program na gagawin nyo. So that makakontrol nyo yung uh, code nyo mismo. Okay? Functions, arrays, pointers, and file handling. So lahat yan, tatakal natin kapag napuntahan na natin siya, module by module. Okay, on the other hand, numerical methods naman, yung mga mathematical na concepts. So, kung meron tayong numerical differentiation, so, kung nung CE24 or nung math series nyo, nag-solve kayo, diba, analytically kung paano mag-differentiate. Dito sa CE25, we'll be teaching you how to differentiate numerically. So, may numerical methods tayo for that. Ano ba yung numerical methods, sir? Ganyan. We also discussed that. Okay. So, next would be root finding methods. So, finding the roots. 'Di ba madali lang naman mag-solve ng roots manually kapag yung function mo ay linear lang, 'di ba, or quadratic, kayang-kaya natin i-solve yan. Pero how about the complicated functions? Paano i-solve yung roots nun? Meron tayong mga numerical methods for that, enumerated here. Alright? Didiscuss din naman natin yan isa-isa, so don't worry. Next, numerical integration. So, kung may differentiation sa umpisa, meron din tayong integration. Okay? So, paano mag-integrate numerically then? Next, numerical solutions to ODEs. So, noong 24, di ba inaral niyo rin yung ordinary differential equations? Nag-solve kayo ng matrices. So, that's an analytical solution. Ngayon naman, meron din numerical solutions for that. Next, curve fitting. So, kung may given set of points ka, ano yung best fit, ano yung equation ng best fit curve for that? Meron din mga numerical methods to solve those. Next, numerical methods to linear algebra. Ito naman yung mga systems of linear equations tsaka yung mga matrices. And actually, eigenvalue problem, dito rin papasok yan. Pero ang kaibahan lang, numerical methods yung gagamitin natin. Next is interpolation and function approximation. Dito naman is similar sa curve fitting, pero for this part, mag-approximate tayo ng function na best fits, or not really, na dadaan sa lahat ng points na given sa atin. Okay? And finally, yung nasabi ko kanina, we'll be having or introducing the concept of the partial differential equations and how to solve them numerically. Okay? Yan. So, nakita mo rito, hati naman siya. May C programming part and numerical method part. I-discuss ko rin naman siya further later, pero just to introduce na rin, kung anong C programming concept yung i-discuss natin or yung aaralin nyo for one module, may corresponding numerical methods din na kung saan i-apply nyo yung C programming. Right? Next. So, tapos tayo sa course content. Ngayon naman, yung schedule. Ano yung magiging arrangement? Ano yung schedule? Ano yung deadlines? Okay, isa-isahin lang natin. So, ngayon, nandito tayo sa orientation. Tama? Nasa orientation part tayo. So, ito, remote learning preparedness. So, ito yung ginagawa natin. Bibigay tayo ng orientation. Tapos, I'll be asking for your expectations. Pero sa ano rin yan? Sa oble naman ito. Okay, I will also discuss that later. Next. So, that's the first week. So, February 8 to 11. So, this time, I'll enroll you naman na sa UVLE, and available na yung resources for module 1 at least during this period. Pero you're not, you're not, call this, obliged to answer those modules agad. So, take your rest then, since this is an ease towards the start ng SEM natin. And nakikita nyo rito, naka-gray part, Introduction to C Programming. Actually, this is an optional reading. So, para lang mas may background kayo on how to, on what a C program is, and ano yung mga computer program, hardware, software, hierarchy. Okay, so I encourage you to read on this naman. So, that's for the first week. Second week is more on the cluster 1 na. Okay. So for the cluster 1, you're allotted 2 weeks to finish this. Okay? Actually, recommended timeline. So you should allot 2 weeks for cluster 1. So dito na papasok yung basic C programming kanina dun sa list. Tapos ang corresponding math is numerical differentiation. Okay? So you can see 1A and 1B yan. Kasi nga per module or per cluster, it's subdivided into 2. So yung A, lahat ng makikita yung A dito is for the programming part. And lahat naman ng B is for the mathematical part. Okay? So 2 weeks to, February 15 to 18 and February 22 to 25. Cluster 3, sorry. Cluster 2 naman tayo. So 2 weeks din ang allotment for this, recommended. So for 2A, the C control structures, while for 2B, the root finding methods. Okay. Meron ulit dito bonus topics na optional lang din. Conditional operator, top-down, stepwise refinement. Okay. So that's for March 1 to 4 and March 8 to 11. Cluster 3. 1 week lang to kasi this one's easier. For March 15 to March 18, ang 3A or programming part is file handling, how to read or write from and onto a file. On the other hand, for the mathematical portion, you'll learn on the numerical integration. Cluster 4. So for this one, 2 weeks naman. So sa programming part, meron tayong functions. And then for the numerical part, is the numerical solutions to ODEs. Okay. So this is for March 22 to 25 and March 29 to April 1. Okay. And then after that, dito papasok yung mga breaks ninyo. We have a reading break from April 2 to April 8 and a catch-up period from April 11 to April 15. Actually, that's the Holy Week break na rin. But after that, cluster 5 na agad. So 1 week din yung cluster 5 kasi one-dimensional array naman yung pag-aaralan dito for the programming part, while for the mathematical part or numerical part, it's the curve fitting. So April 19 to 22 naman. Okay, as you can see, meron ditong naka-red, hard deadline. Okay, important na ma-mark natin yan. Okay. Kasi once, kasi ang first hard deadline natin is for the clusters 1 to 4 lang. So, basically half ng buong CE25. So, we'd like to have a hard deadline for all the clusters 1 to 4 by April 22, 2022. Okay? That's a week after yung recommended na day or date for cluster 4. Actually, that's 3 week na after kasi nag-skip lang tayo ng mga reading break and catch-up period. But basically, in essence, that's a week after the recommended period para matapos yung cluster 4. Okay? Important yan kasi beyond that date, after that first hard deadline, pag hindi kayo nakapag-submit ng clusters 1 to 4, actually, MX, hindi pa pala na-discuss, pero sige. Pag hindi kayo na-submit na MX dito, may mga consequences. Pero I'll discuss that later din on the deadlines. Alright? Sige. For now, move tayo sa next. Cluster 6 would be allotted with 1 week lang din, April 26 to 29. This one, two-dimensional or multidimensional arrays naman yung sa programming part, and then numerical methods in linear algebra sa math part. Okay, 1 week lang yan. And then 2 weeks for cluster 7, May 3 to 6 and May 10 to 13. Dito, pointers naman yung sa programming. And then interpolation and function approximation naman sa mathematical part. Okay? Dito, sa cluster 8, this is solely mathematical part na, wala ng programming part na i-discuss. So, ang aaralin for cluster 8, which is also for 2 weeks allotment, a recommendation lang naman yan, is May 17 to 20 and May 24 to 27. So, both numerical solution to partial differential equations na to. Alright? May bonus topic ulit dito na optional if you want to read on that. And basically, that's it. That's uh, dyan na yung end nung topics until May 24 to 27. And then yung mga submissions naman, may catch-up period ulit dito, May 31 to June 3. Pero yung June 3 na yan, yung end niyan, yan na yung deadline or second deadline natin. Second hard deadline for clusters 5 to 8 month. Okay, again, this is very important. Okay, I'll discuss this further later. So, sige. Let's move on to the next part. That's course delivery. So, paano nyo matetake yung course na to? Saan kayo magsasagot? Ano yung gagamitin? So, dito yung part na yan. Meron tayong course page. Okay? So, basically, lahat ng gagawin nyo sa C25 would be uh, makikita or makukuha or gagawin nyo sa Uble. So, ito yung itsura ng interface ng Uble, natin, uh, site natin for CE25. So, lahat ng materials, lahat ng learning materials natin dyan, asynchronous. Okay, so, uh, naka-upload lahat dyan yung uh, mga materials na kailangan, lahat ng assignments or lahat ng, not really assignments, I mean, lahat ng activities na kailangan gawin, nandyan lahat yun. Okay? Yung arrangement or yung kung paano yung magiging process ng pagsagot, I'll also discuss that later. So, but basically for this slide, sinasabi lang is nasa uble lahat. Okay? So communication plan, how are we gonna meet? How are we gonna talk to each other? Paano mag-consult? Dito yan. Yan. Every lab session, depende sa lab ninyo. Thursdays and Fridays lang naman ang mga lab natin. Pwede kayong makipag-meet sa instructors nyo, sa lab instructors nyo. Pero dependent pa rin yun sa meeting ID. Yung meeting ID and passwords, ibibigay naman sa inyo yun ng lab instructors nyo. Okay, so dependent on your agreement with your lab instructors, pwede kayong yung instructor nyo mag-open ng Zoom meeting during your lab class. And then, for that, pwede kayong mag-facilitate ng consultations, mga demo, may mga tanong kayo, mga discussions. You may ask your lab instructors for this. Okay? Next would be news and discussion forums. Nasa Uvle rin naman to. So, for announcements and forum, andyan din yun. So, actually, upon enrollment sa Uvle class natin, ma-automatically subscribe sa announcement forum. So, dyan yung ilalagay lahat ng announcements. Mana-notify naman kayo via email. And then sa course discussion forum, this one, dyan naman nakalagay lahat ng icebreaker questions na magiging part ng participation nyo sa class. Okay? So, magsasagot lang naman kayo ng mga icebreaker questions. Or pwede rin kayo mag-reply sa mga sagot ng mga classmates ninyo. Kasi part yan. Yung participation sa forum na to, sa course discussion forum is graded. Okay. Okay. So, that's for the forum. Yeah. Consultations through email allowed naman siya lagi. So, you may just email me. Provided naman na yung contact information ko sa course guide na ibibigay sa inyo. Yung messenger naman, if I want to check on you, if hindi kayo ma-reach through Uble or email, I may ask or I may contact you through messenger or even text. Okay? So kapag, or either may tawag dito, super urgent or super important announcement na kailangan kong ibigay sa inyo, baka through messenger or through text message ko na kayo contact. Okay? Let's go to the course materials. Ano ba yung parang package? Ano yung package ng materials na provided sa inyo for this course? We have the following. programming software. Yan yung pinaka-important kasi kung wala kayo niyan, para mapag-program, right? So, nasa course guide naman na isa-send sa inyo or na-send sa inyo. Hindi pala. Nasa Uble pala yung course guide na yan. Ang course guide na nasa Uble, ando naman yung link on how to download yung programming software na gagamitin natin. Again, as I've said, yung language na gagamitin natin is C, and yung software na recommended to be used for uh, para pare-pareho tayo would be code blocks. Okay? So, itong symbol na to, may cubes, red, green, yellow, and blue. Okay, so code blocks yan. May link naman, may download link and instructions for Windows. Okay, actually for Mac, merong may software din na pwedeng gamitin. Pero Xcode naman yung tawag sa kanya. Okay, pero code blocks pa rin yung i-run or ang gagamitin ninyo. Okay, yung instructions on how to download these are nasa course guide. Tsaka yung isa pang document detailing on how to run a C program in Mac. Kasi iba yung way. Okay, meron ding mga mobile apps for Android and iOS, pero most likely code blocks din naman yung gagamitin nating lahat. Pero kung may gusto kayong gamiting ibang software aside from code blocks, just tell the instructor immediately para lang inform kami and ma-prepare namin kapag i-check yung codes ninyo. Right? Course pack. Okay, so listen to this. So, start ng course natin. Course guide. Kanina ko minimension yung course guide na yan. So, yung course guide na yan, nasa Ugle. So, ang laman niyan, lahat ng important information. Okay? Actually, nakasend din pala yan through email. Okay. Important na mabasa yung course guide kasi mas detailed explanation about our course. Okay. Tapos, after nyo basahin, mayroong student conform sa Uble na kailangan nyo lang i-sign or actually okay, you can i-submit na nag-agree kayo sa lahat ng nakasulat sa course guide. Next, may introduce yourself, nasa Uble din to. So after nyo i-introduce yung sarili nyo, mayroong forum for that, ma-open na yung cluster 1. Okay, again, may course guide kayong babasahin which also contains all these mga pinagdi-discuss natin today. And approve nyo yun or accept nyo yun as student conform way. And then on the other hand, introduction ng sarili nyo. So nasa Uble din yan na forum. After you submit those, automatically ma-open yung cluster 1 or yung first topic natin. Okay, ano ba yung laman about cluster? Again, I have discussed this earlier. Divided into two, mayroong A and B. So for the A, ito yung programming modules. So may study guide dyan. Ano yung study guide, sir? Sila yung parang notes talaga. Okay? So sila yung notes ng bawat topic. Okay? Kasi yung cluster niyan is subdivided into content. So for example, cluster 1, content 1, content 2, content 3, and so on and so forth. Okay? Yeah, as you can see here, bawat study guide divided into content para mas madalian kayo kasi kung isang kung isang bagsakan lang na study guide yan for all the topics for each cluster, baka ma-overwhelm kayo. So, sinop-chop namin para mas madaling ma-digest. Okay? Tapos bawat content may or may not have a skill check. Ano yung skill check na yan? Sila yung mga short ano lang naman, questions lang or easy activities lang para lang ma-check kung na-learn nyo talaga yung topic na yun. Pero that's not part of the grade. Ang important lang sa skill check is pang-unlock lang sa next content. Okay. All right. So that's for the study guide. Again, magkahiwalay ang study guide ng programming part tsaka ng math part. Okay. After that, punta muna tayo sa programming part. So okay na tayo sa study guides. So after ng study guide nyo sa programming part, may worksheet. May worksheet pero that's uh, hands-on exercise guide. So guide yan actually ng uh, uh, problems or what do you call this? Magpe-present siya ng mga exercises para lang mas mag-gets nyo yung topic dun sa programming part na yun, on how to use yung uh, diniscuss dun sa study guide. Okay? So, ang laman yan, example na source code na pwede nyo paglaruan, i-run nyo. Meron ding debugging exercises, pag-check kung saan may mali dun sa code na yon, tapos kung paano ayusin. And of course, meron din mga bonus knowledge na hindi nakasama sa study guides. Okay? Hindi naman graded yan. Okay? Non-graded part yan ng worksheets. Pero that's very important para mas ma-practice nyo kung paano mag-code. Diba? Okay? So, as, ayan, after nyo masagutan yung worksheet, uh, mabubuksan yung bonus MX. Okay? So, bonus lang naman yan. I-discuss din natin kung ano yung mga bonus MX. Okay? Next, punta naman tayo sa math part. Kung yung programming part may worksheets, yung math part naman may practice problems kasi ng math part yan. So, yung practice problems na yan, ang laman yan, problems na pwede yung pag-practicean using yung mga methods na tinuro dun sa study guide. Okay? Sige, another important non-graded or non-graded evaluation activity is yung learning log. Okay, ano yung learning log na yan? Yung mga self-evaluation questionnaire naman. Okay, so parang reflection, ano yung natutunan, kung na-attain ba yung targets ninyo for that module. Okay, important yan kasi kapag yan yung magiging basis para mabuksan yung next cluster. Okay? So, yan. Again, important yung learning log question, submit yung learning log questionnaire para ma-open yung next cluster and at the same time, ma-open yung cluster MX, which is the only graded activity here. Cluster MX, yung machine exercises. For that, machine exercise for that cluster. Okay. So, yan. Basically, sa end ng cluster, yung cluster MX yung pinaka-activity na kailangan yung gawin. Okay? So, that's the machine exercise. Ang laman, may guide naman dyan. Before you do the machine exercise, may machine exercise guide na maglalaman ng problem statement, ano yung mga hinahanap, ano yung gusto niyo makita, ano yung output ng program na kailangan nyo magawa. Okay? Again, kapag may iba kayong software or na kailangan gamitin, just inform yung instructor. Okay, so basically lahat ng to nasa Ovle lang. Okay? So, yan. Yung learning log, paulit-ulit ako, pero important na matapos yung learning log para mabuksan yung next cluster. Okay, so pwedeng hindi nyo munang sagutan yung cluster MX para maka-move on kayo sa next cluster. Pero I suggest na sagutan nyo na agad yung cluster MX uh, for that cluster para wala na kayong problemahin or balikan. Okay, para tuloy-tuloy lang. Alright? Sige. Ano yung main references natin? So, sa programming, ito yung mga ginagamit or magiging useful na references. And then for the mathematical part, we have this. Grading system. Ito yung pinaka-important. Paano kayo magkaka-final grade? Balik ko lang yung na-mention kanina, meron tayong dalawang hard deadlines. Yung una is sa April 22, yung pangalawa is sa June 3. So yung April 22, that's for MX1 to 4. Kailangan masubmit nyo na yung lahat ng MX1 until MX4. Di ba nga sabi ko kanina, dun sa flowchart, MX yung pinaka activity or final activity nyo per module. Okay, so pag nasubmit nyo yung MX1 to 4, or pag nagawa niya yung MX1 to 4, ang deadline nun or final deadline nun is April 22, 2022. Okay? So, beyond that day, mag-a-accept pa rin naman kami ng submissions ng MX. However, please do note that yung maximum grade na pwedeng makuha ng student would only be reduced to 60. Okay? So, isa-scale namin yung, i-grade pa rin namin yung MX nyo normally. However, isa-scale namin siya to 60. Okay? So, pag 100 yung nakuha mo sa MX na yun, magiging 60 na lang kasi it's submitted beyond the deadline. Alright? So, dito, ang kasama lang sa first hard deadline would be MX1 to 4. Yung mga bonus MX1 to 4 are also hindi pa kasama. Okay? So, yung MX1 to 4 lang. For the second hard deadline sa June 3, yan na yung MX5 to 8. Tsaka lahat ng bonus MX. Yan na yung hard deadline nila. Okay? So, after this during this deadline, lahat ng submission beans sa UVLE mako-close na. Okay? Hindi naman kami mag-accept ng submissions. However, if you miss yung submission deadline, kasi may eligible reason naman kayo, you need to formally inform yung lab instructor nyo for this through email, okay? Just explain why you weren't able to submit. Explain nyo lang yung circumstances nyo as soon as possible para mabigyan kayo ng time to finish or submit nyo yung hindi nyo pa nasasubmit up to 1 week lang. Okay? Pero yung eligibility ng reason nyo for this is left to your lab instructor. Okay? Okay? So, you may submit or you may submit until 1 week after the specific hard deadline. So, sa first hard deadline or second hard deadline, basta may eligible reason kayo why you missed or why you weren't able to submit, just email. Okay? Para magbigyan ng decision. Okay, kasi binabalik ko to kasi this would be the basis nung magiging grading nyo. Okay, so yung magiging status nyo after the second hard deadline or status ng lahat ng submission nyo after the second hard deadline, yun magiging basis ng final grade nyo. So, ang case 1 is, again, di ba, paulit-ulit mo sinabi kanina, learning log is important kasi yan yung mag-unlock ng next cluster. And yan din yung magiging basis na para masabing na-complete or nabasa nyo yung buong cluster. Okay? So if you finish all 8, completed all 8 learning log questionnaires, and you also submitted all 8 cluster MXs, you completed it, ito yung magiging calculation ng grades nyo. So 100% yung total from 5% na class participation. Again, these are from the forum, and yung 8 na cluster machine exercises nyo. So that's 95% kasi nga yan yung bulk yung magiging grade nyo. And yung bonus MX na na-mention kanina, that's actually pwede ka makakuha ng up to 10%. Pero kailangan lahat ng bonus MX may sagot kayo. Okay? Kasi kung wala, 0 lang yun. Okay? Magiging average nung 8 na bonus MXs yung magiging basis ng grade. Okay? Next case, so yung first case is na-complete nyo lahat. For the second case, completed pa rin yung learning log. So, ibig sabihin, again, natapos nyo lahat basahin yung course, lahat ng uh, course guides. However, hindi nyo na-complete na i-submit yung cluster MX. Ano lang, at least MX 1 to 4 lang. Ibig sabihin, nakapagpasa kayo until the first hard deadline. Tapos, for the second hard deadline, incomplete yung nabigay nyo. Until, ano lang, until 7 lang, until 8, and so on and so forth. Sorry, until 7 or until 6, until 5. Kapag 8 kasi complete, di ba? So, yeah. Pag hindi complete, pero nakapag-submit naman kayo during after the first hard deadline, ito yung mangyayari. Either, kayo mamimili kung anong gusto nyo, incomplete kayo. Again, pag sinabing incomplete, you're given a chance uh, to complete the course, pero during the next sems na. Or, may choice kayo na ipa-compute yung grade nyo pa rin, pero yung unsubmitted or yung incomplete, yung hindi nyo na-submit na MX would be graded 0. Okay, so may two choices kayo. Again, this is for the case na natapos lahat ng learning log, pero yung cluster MX, at least hanggang MX4 lang. Pero hindi na kompleto hanggang 8. Okay, so my choice, either gagawin incomplete or ipapakompute yung grade with the unsubmitted MX equal to 0. For the third case, hindi rin na kompleto yung learning log. Ibig sabihin, ano lang, at least cluster 4 lang yung naabot. So, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or 4, 5, 6 or 4, 5, 4. Ganyan. Hindi niya natapos yung learning log. Ibig sabihin, hindi niya talaga natapos lahat ng topics na nasa course natin. Same goes with the cluster MX. Di niya rin natapos, pero nakapag-submit niya after the first hard deadline. So, basically, baka nakapag-pass na siya until 4, 5, 6, or 7. For this one, wala na siyang choice na ipakomplete yung grade. Incomplete na agad. Kasi, hindi niya talaga natapos yung course. Diba? Incomplete talaga siya. Unlike yung second case kanina, natapos niya yung course kasi nabasa niya lahat. Nasa pagsagot siya ng learning log. Okay? So, for the last case, hindi siya umabot sa cluster 4. Ibig sabihin, automatically, hindi siya agad talaga nakapagpasa until cluster 4 na MX. Okay? So, for this case, wala tayong choice kundi magbigay ng drop na grade. Okay? Pag drop yung grade mo, you'll have to re-enroll the course in the future semesters. Okay? So, ang suggestion is to finish all, diba? All learning logs, all cluster MX as much as possible. Okay? So basically, that's it. Lahat no guidelines natin for this course, CE25. So I'm looking forward to meet all of you. Okay? Not meet, kasi bawal pa naman face-to-face. I mean, to have an interaction with all of you. So I'll just be here to guide. So Magre-respond naman ako most of the time. So, just ask me questions if you have. Just email me for consultations and so on and so forth. And with that, that ends the orientation. Bye. Thank you.